When you move to a new place, it takes some time to adjust, to learn the ropes, to get used to it. When you move abroad, it can be even more difficult and even cost you some dough. Today, I'm going to share 9 things I've learned living here in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for the last few years. And the first one is going to save you thousands of dollars at the grocery store. Come take a look. The grocery store that balances value and convenience the most here in Punta Cana is Nacional. They have a good blend of products, fresh baked goods, and a solid meat department as well. But that's not the point here. The real tip comes at checkout. All right, right there, let's pause it. When I use my credit card, they give you the option of dollars, which it says 171, or pesos. The tip is always choose pesos. And let me show you why. Here's an image from my credit card statement for this exact transaction. My credit card converts it to only 152, saving me almost $20. Look, we probably spend $1,500 a month for our family of 4, plus our housekeeper, and then all the other things that you do, birthday parties, barbecues, inviting people over, all of that. So if you look at it as a 12% discount on using pesos versus dollars here, then that's nearly $200 a month you would save just by hitting the button for pesos instead of the button for dollars. Over the course of the year, that's over $2,000. Look, test it for yourself, check with your bank, you might get a better conversion. And of course, you need a card that does not have international transaction fees. But if you go beyond just the grocery store and you're using a US credit card for a lot of your shopping here, it could stack up real quick if you're using dollars instead of pesos. Now, tip 2 is about tips. Let me show you what I mean. The second tip takes place here in a restaurant. The second tip is tipping, essentially. How do you tip? What do you tip? And what does the receipt look like? Whenever you get a restaurant receipt, there's going to be a couple of charges on there that you should know. The first is called the ITBIS. It's 18%. That's your sales tax. Yeah, 18%. You're not being gringo priced. That's what it is. The second one is either called a service charge or a ley, L-E-Y. I don't know if that means something or stands for something, but it is 10% on top of the 18% sales tax, 10% service charge. That 10% is the tip for the restaurant staff. So the restaurant collects it and distributes that 10% to all of their staff as tips for them, as gratuity. So the question is, what should you tip? As Americans, we're used to tipping 20, 25%, depending on the service. Here, what we do, and many people do here, is pretty much double the tip. So if they take 10% out of your check, just give them that amount in cash as a tip for the waiter or waitress for good service. If it's better, tip them more. If it's worse, tip them less. But generally speaking, that's the tip. That said, if the bill is really high, you do need to consider a few dynamics. Like, for instance, we pay our lady that comes and cleans our house and watches our children about 1,700 pesos a day, $30 for a day's work, which is actually a good income here. So if you've got a $300 check, is it right to give somebody who brought 3-4 items to you the same amount in that hour that you were there that you pay the person taking care of your home? I don't know. My wife made that point to me, and I think you can justify capping the tip at a certain amount. And just consider that guide that I just gave you. If $30 is the price of somebody taking care of your house and your children in a day, what should you give the waiter or waitress who served you for an hour? That said, I think 10% in general is a good rule. If they stink, don't give them anything. They're supposed to get 10% anyway from the restaurant. That's why they charge you. Now, some cynics out there might say, well, restaurants don't give that 10% to their staff. And it's like, look, I can't solve all the world's problems. Just got loud in here. All I could do is what I can do. And if I have good service, I'll tip 10%. If it's not good service, less or none. If it's better service, then maybe a bit more. But it adds up. 18 plus 10 is 28. You give another 20%, you're at almost half the cost of the bill in just charges and gratuities. So you got to be mindful of that. By the way, thanks to Volare for letting me do this video here in their restaurant. I'm right in the middle of Vista Cana. It's a beautiful location. But what I've seen, their pizzas look pretty good. I got to try them. Burger was solid. Now, tipping goes to other places, of course. One of those that's most common probably is at the gas station. Some wonder what to tip here at the gas station. I would say anywhere from 25 to 50 pesos is fine. I always keep about 50 pesos with me just for this. If you wash my windshield, 50, maybe even go more. But I can tell you this, they're not impressed until 500. 500 pesos, then they're like, wow. Beyond that, I think people tip 100, 200 pesos. So the 5 spot, if you were feeling real generous, that'll get them. But also, service matters. It really does. So tip what you think is appropriate. Gracias. Es para ti. Gracias. Gracias, señor.
Okay, bye.
Bye. And bonus tip, always get a copy of the receipt. Always. This next tip involves driving in the Dominican Republic. Driving gets a bad rap for good reason. DR is among the top in the world in motorist mortality rate, although a lot of them are little motos that run around, including that dude back there. I see you. But still, they drive insane. They drive crazy here. But outside of motorcycles, there's really only two things you need to avoid, and that's buses and trucks. Look, no matter what, when they're around you, they have the right of way. Don't fight them, don't try, don't do anything other than just let them go. Like this guy, look at him coming up strong on my left side here. I'm just keeping an eye on him. And eventually he's gonna get up close enough to me and I'm just slowing down and letting him go. Not gonna stop him, not gonna get in his way. Have fun, buddy. What's this guy doing over here? But anyway, let buses and trucks go. The other thing to know when driving is you need to have good insurance. And if you're renting a car here, or if you're, I guess this is about moving here, not traveling here, but either way, you want something called Casa de Conductor on your policy. Doesn't apply in every part of DR, but if I'm in an accident in Santo Domingo, and even if it's not my fault, and a motorist dies, or a bicyclist or moto driver, like this dude right here, check him out, on his phone, chilling. If I kill that guy, even though it's not my fault, the police scoop me up, they bring me to jail. Now, if I have Casa de Conductor, then I can go to essentially a hotel facility while they wait to figure out that it's not my fault and I shouldn't go to jail. It's easily something you must have. Lawyers, attorneys, judges, all back me up on this. And again, it doesn't mean every part of the country has a Casa de Conductor, but you want the coverage on your policy no matter what. Whether you're traveling here or living here, just trust the gringo on this one. All right, the next one is really simple, and it involves WhatsApp. In this country, one of the simplest things to do is actually get all of your prescription medication, items from a colmado, and everything in between directly from WhatsApp. So all you need to do is just simply find the number for the place you want to go to, send them an image. If it's a pharmacy like this one right here, you include an image or a picture of the prescription that the doctor wrote to you, add on whatever Monster energy drink or other crap you're into. I might get some ashwagandha because I'm foo-foo like that. And I'm spitting all over myself. And they'll just moto it right over to your house for your local pharmacy. And again, the same goes for colmados. You could easily just order whatever you want. Chicharron, mondongo, whatever the hell they're selling at the colmado, you can order on WhatsApp and have them deliver it to you. And look, the same even applies for places like Market, Pizza Place in Blue Mall here in Punta Cana, or the little sushi place in the mall that I can't remember the name of. Hoochie? It's Hoochie. It's gotta be, because it's a great name. All of them. WhatsApp, they deliver. It's that simple. It's not like Uber Eats or the other one there, DoorDash, but that's available in some places too, Uber Eats at least. And there's another one here called Pedidos Ya, but more importantly, you can order through WhatsApp and get not only your food delivered to you, but your pharmaceuticals. And the ones that are right near me, two of them, they're called Cana, both open 24 hours. So let's go. And speaking of medical, it parlays right into my very next tip. Whenever I leave the house, there's always one thing I am certain to take with me, and there's something I'm certain not to take with me. I'm gonna share that with you in this tip. Look, there are some obvious things that you're gonna wanna bring with you, and I'm gonna show you that right now, but there's one of these things that you absolutely must bring with you all the time, and it's not what you think. Standards are gonna be like your credit cards, your driver's license, your entry pass for your gated community, if that applies to you. But the one thing that's more important than all of them is this one, your insurance card, your health insurance card to be really specific. Of course, you want your auto insurance card in the car, but having this bad boy on you is really important, and here's why. In the Dominican Republic, right or wrong, when you go to a hospital, they're gonna wanna know that they're gonna get paid first. It's just the way it is. And different hospitals have different standards for this, but the point is, if you are incapacitated in a bad accident or whatever, just immobile, knocked out, have a concussion, don't remember something, when you go to a private hospital, the people at the front desk that are making $1, $2, $3 an hour, they're just wanting to do a job. And unfortunately, it's some of the private hospitals locally, emphasis on private, by the way. Don't go to public. You want to go to private hospitals. You just need to make it super easy for them to sort of say,
oh, okay, yep, I know that insurance, you're good. Go in and get treated, get taken care of.
And you certainly don't want to be redirected to a public hospital because they can't find whether or not they're going to get paid. The private hospital doesn't, I don't think, technically have to treat you, but a hospital needs to, so they can ship you off to a less maybe technologically advanced hospital in the country to get treatment, but on the way, God knows, maybe you bleed out, maybe something bad happens. I know I'm making it really, really heavy here, but this bad boy, you want to keep this on you at all times. Everything else is in your phone. You can have Apple Pay, you can have ID, all of that stuff. But one thing you definitely want to leave home is this bad boy. Don't take your passport with you when you're just traveling around. And here's why. If you get pulled over while you're driving around, depending on who the Amet is, they may not understand or know or see, or they may look at the stamps in the passport and draw a conclusion that's incorrect. And the last thing you want is them seizing this thing because they feel they can, and now you're stuck without the one thing that can get you anywhere in the world that you need to go. If you have any trips planned or whatever, not a good thing. So leave this home, but have a photo of it inside your phone, you and your whole family. I have it all in one album in my phone, all of our passports, just to make sure if I go somewhere or somebody needs my passport number to get into a certain community or whatever, I can provide that to them. Otherwise, leave this at home. In fact, I'm realizing the irony of me having it with me in the car, and I'm gonna go take my own advice right now, okay? I'll be right back. All right, one last tip on this health insurance topic is this. If you are 65 or over, there's a good chance you're gonna struggle to get health insurance when you move down here. So what I would do instead is buy a policy now if you're under 65 and just have it year after year. You're gonna have to have a local address, so you have to find that from a friend or relative, but I would do that. This way, once you hit 65, you've already got insurance and you're grandfathered in. Another thing that you can do is be employed by somebody. Could be a friend or relative around the age of 65, and I'm told, check with them, that the health insurance age limit is less imposed if you're on a employer-based health insurance plan versus getting one on your own. Now, if you need help with a broker, we use Umano, and I've got a broker connection that we use there. There's a WhatsApp number down below. If you message it, that person will connect you to the Umano broker if you need to get a health insurance plan down here. Our plan for a family of 4, the max plan, is about $3,500 a year, so $300-ish a month. But if you're single and you just need a base plan, you could get it for probably $30 or $40 a month, depending on your age. All right, this next one, let's go for a drive so I can show you. Once we moved here, getting around was stupid easy with GPS. And what I mean is, GPS will get you wherever it wants to take you. Trust me on that. We've had to take us through friggin' sugarcane fields, for God's sake, and still get us to a destination, even if it wasn't the exact destination. So here's a hack. Number one, don't trust the location that Google pops up for you and just say, oh, okay, take me there. It's gotten better, honestly, over the last couple of years, but it's still not where it needs to be. So the ideal would be if somebody has the location saved in their WhatsApp or they're at the location telling you, hey, come here, have them send you that location and it'll nail it. It'll get you right there. And to that end, Google Maps is okay, but better is Waze. Especially if you're in Santiago or Santo Domingo, it just routes you around the worst traffic, sometimes into some neighborhood you might not want to be in, but generally speaking, Waze seems to be the best GPS that you can use here. And by the way, if you're looking at these houses over here, let me show you real quick. This is Punta Cana Village. So people talk about the Dominican Republic as like bars on windows and all that stuff. And sure, that exists as all these cars go by. But when you look all the way back there even, let me open my window so you can see. You look all the way back there, I mean, these are $8-9 million homes that are sitting in a beautiful neighborhood that has a ton of amenities like parks, like the one over there, baseball fields, soccer fields, schools, you name it. This is premier living in the Dominican Republic and specifically in Punta Cana. Where I'm sitting right now is called the West Village. It's sort of the newer iteration of the whole of Punta Cana Village. But the cool thing about this, you spend more money, but you can fully exist in this area. They have everything that you could need: groceries, shopping, restaurants, activities for kids. There are multiple schools. It is idyllic. It's not required. There's plenty of other nice communities, but it is idyllic. Now, there's another exclusive spot that a lot of people always ask me, like, I don't know how to get into that. And I'm going to show you exactly how. Let's go check it out. Cap Cana is one of the most exclusive places that you can get into here. And there's only a few ways to do it, but it's not as hard as people think. The first way is simple. If you own inside of Cap Cana, then you get a Cap Cana card and you just scan your way in through security. But there are... Boy, that wind picked up. But there are 3 other ways you could do it. This just fell down while I was sitting here. I'm in dangerous territory, friends. So let me finish up quick before I get killed. The second way is if you get membership to Eden Rock, which I've heard is a few $1,000s for the year, then you can get access into Cap Cana at any point. In addition, if you have annual passes at El Dorado Water Park, which is what me and my family have, humble brag, On the days that they're open, you can go into Cap Cana, obviously to use Dorado Water Park, but even if you just stayed and went to a restaurant or whatever, like that's doable. You've got the pass to get inside. But the last one is the easiest. All you got to do is go to one of the restaurants, WhatsApp them, and they'll send you a pass with a reservation for free. Now, look, go to the restaurant because they will blackball you if you kind of get the pass, get in, and then don't go use the restaurant. But it's definitely a legitimate strategy that you can use to get inside, go to a restaurant, and then also take in the beach or whatever else there is inside of Cap Cana. They also have an app you can use to reserve some of the restaurants, but I'm going to show you here using Noa Marina so you can see exactly what it looks like. First off, here, you go to their Instagram page and you see they have a WhatsApp number. You go to that WhatsApp number and you say, hey, I need a reservation. They send you a list of things they need from you, including your passport. You send it all back to them, and then they end up sending you back a QR code and pass that lets you get in at the gate here at Cap Cana. I should have thought a little bit ahead and had the Dorado passes with me so you could see it, but those are in my wife's purse along with my balls, so I'm sorry I didn't have them with me. But those are some ways to get into Cap Cana. Reserve at a restaurant and you get inside. All right. The last two tips I'm going to give you about living in the Dominican Republic are both having to do with your dinero. That's Spanish for money. It's also efectivo, which I think is like cash. Is that right? Some of you might know. Con tarjeta o efectivo? Efectivo? Por favor? It's gone off the rails at this point, people. So anyway, I'm going to tell you two things you need to know about your money living here in Dominican Republic. Let's go. One of the first things that you need to do when you move down here, and even before you get here, if you can, is open a bank account. I'm looking across the street at Banco Popular right now. I tried to record like out in front of it to make it cooler, but security didn't like that. So I'm in my car. I don't feel like being shot with a shotgun by a guy who doesn't know how to use it. You know what I mean? There's other banks here. There's one over there, and there's Scotia Bank up the street. But here's the point. Get a bank account. But I want to get deeper on all the little ins and outs of banking so that you're fully prepared for this once you make your move. First, you should open two different types of accounts. The first is your peso account, so that you can transact and withdraw Dominican pesos right here in country. And the second is a USD account, US dollars. And we have both of those with Scotiabank. That's who we use, but that doesn't make them the best. There's other banks that here that are just as good, if not better. We use Scotia because what I understand, they have some of the best mortgage programs. So we figured we'd build a relationship with them now so that later, when we need a mortgage, we can go through them. But you can just open one of each, a peso account, a USD account right there when you go to open your account at the bank. Next is wiring money. So a lot of people ask the question, well, how do I get money from the US down there? And there's a few different ways you can do it, and then I'll share what I do. One, you can use different wiring apps like Wise or Remitly. They're both good. Remitly's a little faster, Wise is slower, but Wise has a better exchange rate. So you decide. But those are two options a lot of people use to bring money here for like $8 to $10, depending on the amount. The other thing you could do that a lot of people don't know is you can just write a check. If you have checks from your US account, you can literally write the check and deposit it into your local bank in US dollars. They'll probably hold that check for 2 to 3 weeks, so just be prepared for that if it's not something you need urgently, but cheap way to do it. Write the check, deposit it, no transaction fees. However, if you try to convert that money to pesos through the bank, their exchange rate sucks. So what's probably better to do, honestly, is withdraw the money, go to an exchange place because they give you a way better exchange. Take those pesos and redeposit it into your peso account. If you care to do it. If you don't care about the exchange, whatever. I don't. But my wife does that crap where she just runs around town, taking money out, putting money in, and doing all this stuff to save $5. Meanwhile, I get $200 worth of Amazon orders on stuff that we're going to throw away in a week on the regular. Hey, I don't blame her. She suffers with this condition that many of you may be familiar with. It makes her prone to irrational logic and rash decisions that make no sense whatsoever. And it's just hard for her to get her control of her emotions. What is that called? Somebody knows it. Maybe you could drop it down in the comments. It's, I remember. She's a woman.
Women.
Right? I mean, it's a condition. I'm just kidding. But let me get deeper on this. When you're withdrawing money here, if you have a local account, great, use it and withdraw your money. But you can withdraw using your US card, US debit card from a local ATM. That's absolutely doable, but it will cost you depending on the ATM you go to. Banco Lopez, for instance, great bank, highly recommend using them. But when we used our US ATM card, the fees added up for one withdrawal to $15 between the two banks. Insane. Instead, we chose Scotiabank because, in part, they're in this whatever agreement with Bank of America so that our fees are significantly reduced if we withdraw using our Bank of America card. Forget what it's called, like World Alliance or whatever. But there's a set of ATMs around the world through different banks like Bank of America, Scotiabank, Deutsche Bank, so on and so forth, where the fees are reduced or waived in some cases. Not all fees, but some of the fees. The ones Scotia charges or the one Bank of America charges or one of the ones that one of them charge, whatever. The cheapest way for us is to use a Bank of America ATM card in a Scotiabank ATM in country. Now, what do? We just wire the damn money and we pay $35 or whatever to do it. When you get above about $10,000, they're likely to hold it or flag it. But here's the thing. You've got a relationship with the bank and you go into them in advance and have a conversation and say,
Hey, I'm going to be sending this money. Here's where it came from. I sold my car. Here's the receipt for it.
It'll pass through much quicker. Everything here is about relationships, including how you get some things done at the bank. But still, expect there to be scrutiny on larger wires that come into the country, for sure. But those are some ways that you can make sure that you're set up in banking and you're all set and you can avoid fees and all of that stuff and limit your wire transfer cost. But one more tip for you. I'm told by some that whole exchange game of like withdrawing the money, going to an exchange place, exchanging it and redepositing it in pesos can be avoided with a good relationship in the bank if you just go to your banker, whoever that might be, and say, hey, can you please give me the prevailing rate for the exchange? Right now, as we record this, like 59 pesos per dollar. I haven't tried it, but I'm told that's an option to eliminate the need to run all over the place getting your money exchanged. When we moved here, we didn't open a bank account for a year, and that was a big mistake because when we went to get our cell phones with Claro and did all of that, we didn't have credit in country, and credit is as simple as showing a number of months of bank statements to them. Now, in our defense, we were only coming for 1 year. There wasn't really the need for it, but when we ended up staying is when we opened the bank account. But even still, in hindsight, even if coming for a year, having a banking relationship in another country is just a good idea. And given that my wife is Dominican, for her to have a bank here is just the right move, and we should have done it from the very beginning so that it made some things easier, like getting a phone. All right, I have one more tip, and this one, honestly, is probably the biggest moneymaker for you. I can't wait to share it. I've learned so much recently about it, it's gonna blow your mind, but let's do it at home. Hey, sorry, want to interrupt this video real quick because you might be saying, man, there's so much good information here. I'd love to get more and go deeper on it. Well, I got good news for you. You can join my DR Inner Circle where we go deep on a lot of topics. I do exclusive real estate tours, answer questions, go live every week, and bring in experts like bankers and brokers and lawyers to teach our members everything they need to know about moving here, living here, investing here, and so on. And even more than that, we've got this incredible community of people sharing with one another, both that live in Dominican Republic and that live in the United States with the idea of investing or moving here. Simply put, we simplified Dominican Republic for you, all for just $9 a month inside the Inner Circle. You click the link below, jump in, you'll get a lot more of me exclusively, a lot more content from me, and even some of these videos that come out, you'll get to watch in advance or watch the bonus footage that I don't release here on YouTube. It's a ton of fun, chock full of info, and if you're getting value from what I deliver to you, would love to have you part of the Inner Circle. All right, let's get back to the 9 tips. All right. This last tip could save you a ton in taxes. If you're a United States citizen, you need to file a tax return every year, no matter where you live, no matter where you make your money. It doesn't matter. 1 or 2 countries where you need to file no matter where you live, period. But they do offer 2 different incentives to people living abroad that you might be able to take advantage of. Now look, consult your lawyer, your accountant, whatever. Don't just trust me, but I'm going to expose you to it and then you do what you need to. Having said that, I had to teach my accountant this, and I'll explain that in a second. The 2 programs are called the FEIE, or Foreign Earned Income Exemption, and the FTC, or Foreign Tax Credit. The FEIE really just requires that you prove that you're a resident or are physically present in another country most of the year. And if you are, you cannot pay taxes on a big chunk of income. The FTC, on the other hand, literally, is a dollar-for-dollar exemption on taxes paid in another country. So if you pay $5,000 in taxes in the Dominican Republic, and you can show that, then you can waive $5,000 in taxes in the United States. So the FTC just makes sense, right? If I pay $1 in tax here and can show it, then the US will credit me $1 in tax paid there. I don't need to pay it in 2 places. The FEIE is where the confusion is. So let me explain. To qualify for the FEIE, what you need is to pass one of 2 tests. The physical presence tests, which is 330 full days abroad in a rolling 12 months, any rolling 12 months, June to June, April to April, whatever. And the other is the bona fide residence test. I always giggle with bona fide. Said to my wife, like, hey, you want to be bona fide? She never does, but that's my own cross to bear. Anyway, a bona fide residence test is an uninterrupted tax year residence abroad. In my case, I'm leaning into the physical presence test, 330 years abroad, and establishing like, here's a location, here's my address. I'm not just like going places, but I live here. And with that physical presence test inside the FEIE, if you pass it, you're exempted from paying taxes on the first $130,000 of income earned in the US. That's for 2025. It goes up every year. Now, this is regardless of whether or not you pay taxes in another country. For instance, Dubai. If you're in Dubai year-round, there are no taxes there, so you can't pay taxes. But if you're there and you pass either of the bona fide residency test or the physical presence test, first $130,000 of income, you don't pay taxes on. Now, here's what I've learned even more about this. For the FEIE, if you are here less than 330 days, like say 295 days because you travel into the United States that many times, then it's not like it doesn't qualify for you. There's actually a proration to it. So rather than the first 130,000, it comes down to like 105,000 or something that you can exempt taxes on. The FTC, on the other hand, that you just get dollar for dollar credit against taxes. So you can claim both. If you get to that point, you make $150,000, you can exempt the first 130, and then if you paid taxes on the next 20 in the Dominican Republic and you can show it, then you can waive those taxes dollar for dollar in the United States on the FTC. But the FEIE is simple. If you have a tax home abroad and you can prove it through one of these two tests, you can waive your taxes, period. I mean, this one might save you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, depending on your income level. And my accountant didn't know this. In fact, when she emailed me about all of this, she put this language about like, no, Jamie, FEIE is a matter of you showing you paid taxes in another country, then you get credit for those taxes here. I'm like, no. That is the FTC, not the FEIE. And I explained to her what the FEIE was. I even gave her the publication in the IRS code to explain it to her. Pretty much essentially what the FEIE is saying is, hey, look, if you live in another country, then you're not using our roads, you're not using our bridges, you're not using our police force and all of that stuff. So we're gonna exempt you up to a certain amount from paying any taxes because you're just not using what the taxes are for to the level that somebody living in the United States is. That's the logic behind it, if you will. And then if you make $150,000, $200,000 and you're not paying taxes elsewhere, you'll still pay your US taxes on that. So, God forbid something happens when you're in another country, you are paying taxes toward the need for you to be extracted and for the US government to be involved, let's say. But there you go. 9 different things you need to know before moving here and things I wish I knew before we came. Now, you might be saying, I want to move there one day, but right now it's just about travel. Well, I got you covered there as well. Just click this video here on my 12 essential tips for traveling in the Dominican Republic, chock full of nuggets and information about different things you need to do at different places to go. Check that out, and I'll see you on the next video.